Hey, what's up guys, and first of all, I post a new series over on Anime King 2. What if Naruto awakened the Yellow Rinnegan after his exile? So go over there and check out that guys and enjoy. The link will be at the top of the description for you guys to enjoy. And on this channel I'm going to be giving you part 6 of What If Naruto Was Blamed, and it changed him guys. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, stay in tune because I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Betrayed by Hagoromo over on Anime King 3. So stay in tune for that, and I hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 3, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. Last spot we left off, as Kakashi and Kurenai were going through mission records as they were searching for the traitor. Yes, there was a traitor in Konoha that has been passing information off to the Akatsuki, as they found a name, but it wasn't in the Konoha listed shinobi names, so that was someone who shouldn't be there, as the person had to write the mission report about Naruto, about many of his missions now. While that was going on, as Naruto took on another B-rank ninja, as Jiraiya showed up. As the both of them spoke, as Naruto had gotten electrocuted, but it wasn't so bad as Fox managed to pump it from his system. As Jiraiya had set up a plan for the Akatsuki members, as Jiraiya got some information about the Akatsuki, as Hidan and Kakatsu were to go and retrieve the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, as Pain was furious with them. They had been gone out several times now and come back with a dead end, as he told them to find him immediately. So with that, they headed out to find Naruto and capture him. While that was going on, as Jiraiya was waiting at the spot for them, as Pain had told them to leave if Jiraiya of the Sun arrived. And, well, things didn't go exactly as they planned, as they came upon Jiraiya, but Jiraiya had already blocked the way with two giant toads, Kamihiro and Kamabunta. As the battle started, Jiraiya knew about their abilities and Take what Kakatsu got from them. As he faced off against the man, Jiraiya put him in his place by destroying his heart. With a final Rasengan, he ended him, and he ended up sealing Hidan away in the stomach of the toad. So there will be no way that he will be getting out of there. As Jiraiya smiled, seeing that now, 2 more members of the Akatsuki has been taken care of, so to make sure that the rest will hunt Naruto. While that was going on, Naruto was going after another ninja, Mizuki. He has faced this man twice already, when the man gained some kind of curse and turned into a strange, tiger-like human, and when he was younger. This time, he was gonna put him down. As he made his way, Naruto felt incredible. He was faster, stronger, turning off the weights. He was beyond what he was before, as he had to get stronger weights now to hold him. So yeah guys, that was basically that's what left off. You guys can switch across the page and check it out for yourself. So, what is to begin this new episode? Mizuki was walking. He knew that he was being followed. Probably another hunter named that they sent after him. As he smirked to himself, waiting for the man to get in range before killing him. Even out here in this small town, they were still able to find him. Still, he would just kill another and send him back. As Mizuki stopped in a clearing, waiting for the man to walk and catch up to attack him. But to his surprise, the person did not attack him right away. As he turned to see the person had their hands in their pockets, walking towards him rather calmly. Immediately, Mizuki was on high alert. Something was wrong, as he had heard rumor about a powerful hunter name going around, clearing through the list, and he was currently worrying that this guy might be him. But he heard the man speak. Mizuki, former shinobi of Konoha. For your crimes against Konoha, you are hereby sentenced to death. Mizuki scoffed as he went into a fighting position. This guy's presence was strong. Everything from him. But Mizuki would not go down easy. Do not underestimate me, Undernin. A few of your kind already tried before, and they also went down. What makes you think your fate will be any different? As the hunter Nin didn't say anything, there was just silence. Naruto unsheathed his sword as he started to talk. Because I have already beat you several times before, and this time will be the last. The ground cracked slightly under his feet as he sent Joker down to it. He rocketed off the floor, sliding towards Mizuki. The man then blurred out of sight, shocking Mizuki as he spun around. As Mizuki turned left and right, but he saw nothing at all. He then gasped in pain as he clutched his stomach, where a wound opened up on his stomach. As he looked around in shock, how fast was this hunter Nin? Tell me something, Mizuki. How did you manage to survive the after effect of Orochimaru's drug? The last time I saw you were begging for breath and your whole body was shrieking. What happened? Who are you? Said Mizuki. And how do you know about that? Well, my identity is not your concern, Mizuki. But it seems like the bingo book was wrong. You're nothing what they said you would be. They should probably give you a lower status. Mizuki flashed through hand signs, ignoring his wound for a moment. Let's see about that, hunter Nin, he said. Lightning release. Thunderbolt Jutsu. As a huge thunderbolt rushed towards Naruto, simply stood there. The thunderbolt slammed into something 5 feet away from Naruto as it dispersed around it. A wind barrier. Wind style. Great wind breakthrough, said Naruto. As a gust slammed into Mizuki, his body was sent sailing back and crashed down. It's over, said Naruto, as his sword ignited with flames. Mizuki watched him as he vanished again. This time, the entire world turned upside down. As Mizuki wondered what happened, as his head fell down to the ground, life leaving him. It seems that the book was wrong after all. This imbecile is rather weak, said the Kyuubi, as Naruto prepared to send the man head back to Konoha. Meanwhile, in Konoha, after checking with Sai, both Kakashi and Kurenai find out that Shinobu was Sai sensei en route. Right now, they were discussing their findings with Nadi to pull an investigation on Tonto. The window was suddenly pulled open as Jiraiya flipped in the room, alerting all of them. Whoa, easy, it's me. I thought you'd be happy to see me. As a fist slammed right into his face, Nadi screamed, telling him to use the door next time. As Kakashi and Kurenai sweat dropped at their interaction. As Jiraiya came back in the room, rubbing his face. As he told them about how he took out Kakazu and Hidan with the counter-intelligence that he was using for Naruto location. As they were all surprised by that, and happy that 2 more members of the Akatsuki has been taken out. As Kakashi informed about the investigation that they were working on about Shinobu, I tried to ask Hidan questions, but he did not know anything. I bet only their leader knows who's telling them information. Danzo is smart and won't throw anything out of the blue. Even if you put Anbu to watch him 24 hours, he will simply stay put until you drop the investigation. The best course of action is to follow Shinobu and see what you can find out about him, as he earned nods from those present in the room. Alright, since I'm no longer needed here, I'll be get going. I still need to tell Naruto about the news. Do any of you want me to tell him anything? As Kakashi wanted to go, as he hadn't seen Naruto in a long while. Jiraiya told Kakashi that Naruto changed, but Kakashi still wanted to go. Kurenai was still pregnant, so she couldn't really travel. But she did send a message towards the blonde, so did Snavi. And with that, Jiraiya and Kakashi headed off. After that, Kurenai left the building as she made her way, going to the hospital for some checkup, when she met up with Hana. As something was up with Hana, as Kurenai asked her what was wrong. As Hana told her she wanted to speak with Naruto again. As Kurenai smiled at her, unfortunately, Naruto wouldn't be arriving for some time. Hana wasn't surprised to hear this, as she knew his profession being a hunter Nin. But still. But a thought popped into Kurenai's head. Hana, the Hokage has a secure network of communication with him. Perhaps you could send him a letter or something, to find somewhere to meet up with him. As Hana asked why would the Hokage bother to do this for her. Well, Tsunade-sama considered her the family. Of course she would do that. Especially since you have feelings for him. As Hana blushed in response. Well, I guess I can talk to her about it. I'll write a letter and give it to her tomorrow. Thanks, Kurenai, and with that Hana left. Time skip. As Tsunade was currently finishing up her paperwork, when there was a knock on the door. As she told the person to enter, it was Tatsumi. Tsunade was a bit shocked by that. Tatsumi was friends with her before she left the village, but since she returned, the woman never really come to her office. Hello, Tsunade-sama. How's the paperwork treating you? The answer to that question is always a negative one. What can I do for you, Tatsumi? Well, it seems, Tsunade-sama, that Hana has been talking about this new hunter Nin theme. And one day I even caught her having a good dream about him. She told me that you might have information about him. Well, you have to. So I'm a bit curious about this guy. Until now, no man has ever did this to my Hana. Snatched sigh. But she knew that that girl seemed to have a, well, crush on Naruto and feelings that were growing by the day. And that would be good for Naruto, to have someone like that. So his mind wouldn't be focused on the job every time. For him to lose what the small thing meant that he had left. Yes, for him to have compassion and love in his life. After all, the job of a hunter was, well, a lot. Tasumi, this is a secret that you cannot reveal to anyone without my permission. As Tasumi nodded, have a seat. The next day, Jiraiya and Kakashi was at a local dango shop in Fire Country border. Between the Fire Country and River Country border. As Jiraiya had sent a toad to go and fish Naruto to tell them where he was. As Kakashi was currently going over some notes for Jiraiya's next book, and he was attached. Along the trip, Jiraiya told Kakashi about Naruto and how far he has come since the trip. Kakashi was suffering in anticipation to see how much his student has grown. Suddenly a figure appeared on the horizon, both of them could see the hunter in mass. Naruto had received the message and wondered what would Jiraiya want talking about. As Naruto arrived, he saw the silver hair next to Jiraiya, and he knew that it was Kakashi. The two elder shinobi got up and waited for Naruto to come. As Kakashi looked over the hunter Nin, as he wondered, was this really Naruto? Naruto was the same size as him when it comes to body mass, and he could see that Naruto has indeed changed. Upon arrival, Naruto was the first one to speak. So what is it that you wish to speak to me about, Jiraiya-san? Kakashi flinched a bit at not being greeted by his old student, but he did not say anything. As Naruto told him to go inside, where they can be more comfortable. Once they made their way inside, a bit more private, he took off his mask. Kakashi and Jiraiya saw Minato for a split second there, before the image returned back to Naruto. Hello Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto. Sorry I didn't talk to you before. It's just that while he was in the mask, I couldn't reach someone eavesdropping. As Kakashi was relieved that Naruto hasn't changed so much, did not talk to him. As the group started to talk about what happened and the next course of actions for the future. Time skip, as a figure was walking on the road, maybe 5'9", as he was currently going towards the water country, passing through the land of fire. As he stopped, eyeing his surroundings. After all, he need to keep an eye around the place. As he made his way, keep on walking. As he was trying to get out of the open, he made his way towards one of the nearby branches as he hopped up and started to hop from tree branch to tree branch. Suddenly his body fell to the ground, head decapitated. The man didn't even know that he died. Something that swift took off his neck as his body had collapsed down. Someone then landed down in the tree branch, looking down at the body. It was none other than Naruto. It has been a couple of weeks since he spoke to Jiraiya and Kakashi, as he was surprised. Well, Jiraiya was a Sanin after all, for taking out two members of the Akatsuki at the same time, even if he had help from Gamabunta. As for the kill, it took a while for Naruto to find this guy, as he knew that the B-rank mission names would be hard to track. As Naruto also learned about the objective of the Akatsuki, the reason why they want to find all the Bijus. But he see it as a big waste of time. Battles would continue to happen no matter what, as long as the Shinobi world still exists. No matter if some ninjas fight evil, eventually there will be a war, and innocent blood will spill. Naruto wasn't strange to the idea that the more light that illuminates the planet, the more shadow looms in dark areas. It's kind of strange to hear you think like this, kid. I think you believe in peace for everyone, from the way you acted before, the Kyuubi said, as Naruto was doing the hunter nin routine to the body. It would be even stranger if I said I believe in peace, and for everyone, and kept doing what I do. It will be plainly hypocritical to go against my enemies from the ones they murder while I'm doing the same thing, said Naruto. Human beings are worse than demons simply because they're unpredictable. They are ruled by emotions, and they can change from the nicest person to a cold-blooded killer just like that. As Naruto nodded, as he was already taking his finger book scratching out the name of the man that he killed, Gamikichi then arrived as he brought two scrolls, one for the money and another one a message. As Naruto placed a scroll of the money inside his kunai holster and opened the scroll for his message, surprisingly, it was from Kiba's sister, Hana, saying that she wanted to meet with him to discuss some issues. I can imagine what issues you want to discuss, the fox laughed. As Naruto sighed, there you go again, error Kitsune. assumed that she wanted to have sex with me out of nowhere. As Grandma told him that none of the women he slept with were indifferent. As Naruto told him to stop talking for a while, Hana wanted to meet him in a village not far away from his position. Tomorrow night, he didn't have an objection to the meeting, and he can use the time to rest. As he wrote his consent and gave it to the toad, who vanished. As he wondered what did she want to talk to him about. As he wondered if he spoke too much, and perhaps his identity was revealed to Hana. Time skip. Konoha. As Tsunade was talking with Hana, they were talking about Naruto, how far he has reached in his, hunting program. When Gamikichi arrived back, as Tsunade looked over it, Naruto accepted the request, but he insisted that the mask remain. Fear of someone find out. And remember, use caution upon approaching him in a public place. Try not to call him by his name, and everything will be fine. Pack your stuff and good luck, said Tsunade. Earned a nod from Hana as she left. After Hana left, Tsunade was left alone for a while to think about the recent activities so far. Kakashi and Sarah following the man, known as Shinobu, from Root for a while. But they have found nothing so far. Tsunade knew that they were on the right track because of Kakashi's findings, as Jiraiya was still using the connections to change Naruto location time after time, but he was worried about the Akatsuki canceling their, partnership with the spy and going after Naruto their own. She was worried, but she knew being a hunter nin much have taught Naruto some withdrawal procedures in case he was outmatched. Last but not least, the Rookie 9 was becoming impatient. They were always asking about the blonde, asking when he was going to return from his mission with Jiraiya. As she heard from Shikamaru and Kurenai that they were becoming rather annoying, and Ino was demanding to know what really happened. Nonetheless though, it wasn't the right time to come clean with them. He was getting stronger, that was for sure, but he still wasn't Akatsuki level. According to Kakashi's report, he put up some muscle and his experience in battles, but until he moved on to the Iraq missing ends, his counter-intelligent mission will still be going on. It was late at night till Tsunade grabbed her bottle of sake as she poured some, as she knew that something was just missing. No one there to call her Bachan. No one to just burst in her office screaming instead of talking. Without Naruto, her life was rather boring to say the least, as she was jealous of Hana being able to go and see him while she was stuck in here doing paperwork. As she started to remember after meeting him, he was the one that, reminded her and gave her back hope to come to the village. As she started to cry, as she thought about the hunter life, how much he had to give before he collect what was rightfully his. He was treated like crap all of his life, and not once did the blonde complain about it. He had that goofy smile that was impossible to ignore and easily get attached to. However, after what happened to Asuma, Tsunade did not know if realization fell upon Naruto or what for making him change so fast. The idea of Akatsuki using someone against him was a dangerous thing. But Konoha wasn't the strongest village for nothing. She knew that the Akatsuki were strong, but Jiraiya was able to take on two and defeat them. They weren't invincible. After pouring more shake, she realized she was being rather selfish, because if it was up to her, Naruto did not need to leave, and if Akatsuki came, Konoha would deal with them. Nevertheless, it would be bad if extra missing names come to the village and destroy the village. While Konoha produced fine shinobi, Akatsuki would not fight fairly. They would use leverage and destruction, to carve their way through the village. Time skip. After Hana left Tsunade's office, she went straight home. The news that he would see her made her happy, but a new thought was in her head. Now she was overwhelmed by insecurity. As a proud member of a proud clan, Hana was never insecure before, so it was new and strange to her. Her doubt was whether he'd return her feelings to her. She did well to remember in their mission, there wasn't much conversation going on, and Naruto was the one that was mostly doing the talking. And she was screaming at him for not taking the enemy seriously. As a hunter nin, they always depend to not, lean on anyone, because you only had yourself in the end. What if she talked to him, and he did not feel anything? For her, it was unboring, as she became quite, obsessed with him. She had dreams about him, as she was wondering how he was doing. It was something that just clicked. And what if he blew her away? What would she do? As she needed to talk to someone immediately. As she arrived. Mom? Mom? As she came to the living room. Hana, what's wrong? Mom, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. As Tsunade had, told Asuma about the hunter nin identity, Asuma never knew much about Naruto, as she knew that he hosts the Kyuubi inside of him, and that he was friends with her son, as she knew about some of his achievements. But now that he was, in Hana's life. Ever since Hana returned back from the mission, all she talked about was the hunter nin and his progress. Now Hana seemed a bit, desperate to talk about something. What is it I can help you with, dear? As the both of them already discussed it, as Tsunade had told her mother about Naruto's identity. Well, I communicated with Naruto, and he agreed to meet me in a village, not too far from here. But I am now having some doubts, whether he will feel the same way or not. Tatsumi simply smiled. Hana-chan, it's clear that you're infatuated with this man. But both you and I know that he just saw you once. You can't expect a guy like him to just fall for you one night. You need to take your time a little bit, since you will see him, approach him with some care. Get to know him a little better, and allow him to know you as well. You know that if you just go there and say the L word, there's a serious possibility that he won't return your feelings, and you will be devastated. So just ease into the thing, okay? Hana nodded a smile. Being a hunter nin taught him to only rely on himself. It will take a while to break through that barrier, but I understand, mother. I'll go slow and get to know about him. What do you think of him, mother? I mean, I never got your opinion about any of the guys I went with. But regarding him, I really want to know what you think about him, said Hana. Tatsumi turned as she thought about it for a while. I don't have anything bad to say about him. He befriended Kibakan. He was one that fought against the one-tailed demon when the stone and sand invaded that time. He possessed a strong spirit. After hearing about the reason of his departure, well, my respect has grown for him a lot. Also, Tsunade-sama think highly of him as a person, so I don't have anything bad to say, even though I'm aware of who lives inside of him. As a big smile came on Hana's face. Time skip. As Tsunade finished her bottle of sake, it was rather late as she was going to go home. Just as she was about to leave though, she felt something as she was ready to beat the hell out of this person. Easy, Haim. It's just me. Jiraiya, what the hell are you doing here? It's late. I'm about to go and get some sleep. Jiraiya nodded and offered to accompany her to her house. Tsunade shrugged. On the way, Jiraiya was explaining about the mission and how Naruto was doing. He's quite skilled. The technique that the Kyuubi taught him was quite something else. Especially the flame sword jutsu. You know, I'm not too thrilled to hear that he's out there killing people, Jiraiya, even though they're criminals. I didn't want this for him, and certainly not Sarutobi Sensei. He would clearly become a chunin if he stayed for chunin exams that happen in Kumo. But instead he's killing. He's learned how to kill only. Tsunade was afraid for Naruto mentality, as Jiraiya tried to imagine Naruto as a bloody killer, but he could not. It wasn't the blonde mentality at all. I would have a little more faith in him if I were you. Naruto is nothing to a cold-blooded murderer, and he's just on missions. He's killing and protecting, doing both by protecting Konoha in that way. Eventually, he'll be strong enough to go after the strong ones, and will be there to help him. The last time I saw him, he was dealing with B-rank missinins, and they were all Jonin level shinobi. He's a tough one to crack. Well, only time will tell. I know how shinobis change after becoming a hunter nin. Oh, just so you know, Naruto is meeting Inazakahane tomorrow, by the village nearby here. As Jiraiya had heard that she was rather infatuated with Naruto, and she wanted to talk to him. But still, Tsunade, Naruto became a hunter nin so that Akatsuki would be able to use anyone against him. If this girl hadn't get too close, you know what's gonna happen, said Jiraiya. He knows that he wants to remain with the mass when he meets up with her, said Tsunade. Suddenly Jiraiya vanished, confusing Tsunade. But when she heard Sakura call out her name, she understood. Thank you, pervert, she said. As if people knew that Jiraiya was in the village, they would want to know what the hell Naruto was doing then, and where were he, and if Jiraiya just leave him out there. Time skip. The next day, as Tsunade had reached her office, she got a letter from the sand. As Gaara was asking for help from a certain hunter nin to capture a mixing from the sand that was causing problems. Well, I guess Naruto took his time to talk to Akatsuki after all. Time skip. As Gamakichi showed up, as he had a message. As Naruto took the message and started to read it. Naruto, it's been a while since I last saw you, and I miss you a lot. Some people say that you only give value to stuff once you lose it, and they were right. I didn't imagine that it would be so hard to live here, without seeing you walking around the village or pulling a prank or two. Nevertheless, I know what you did, and why you did, and I miss you a lot. I guess I never got to say this out loud to you, but I consider you a part of my family along with Shizune. You're like a little brother. While you're rather annoying, you can't help but love him. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, and I'm eager for you to return home. And if you dare die on me, I'll resuscitate you and beat the living crap out of you. You better hear that. Anyway, I know that it's your mission to go after Konoha missinins, but in this letter, there was a personal request from the Kazekage. It seems you're having trouble dealing with the ex-jonin of their village, and they requested you to aid them in capturing their foe. After your meeting with Hana, you can go and talk to Kazekage. He will explain everything. You will receive a A rank pay for this one, and don't worry about this going into your records. This part, I got covered, since your real documents are locked in my personal vault. Good luck. A smile came on Naruto's face after reading that, as it pained him to hear that Tsunade was so sad, but he knew he did the right thing cause Akatsuki hasn't bothered Konoha since. His plan worked and already 2 of their members were taken care of. Now as to his mission, he would gladly help Gaara, as he wrote back a letter to Tsunade, as he told her he loved her as family as well. And to not be sad, he will return home in no time, as he even wrote Bachan in every single sentence which he said her name, just to cheer her up. After that was over, Naruto headed off after thanking Yamakichi once again. Time skip, as Naruto saw her and the 3 dogs. Immediately, one of the dogs broke away, as it rushed forward and jumped on Naruto, tackling him down to the ground as he started to lick his mask. Since she was coming here, it seems that the dogs knew, as they were demanding, especially that one, to speed things up. Looking at the blonde, her heart raced a bit. She remembered her mother telling her to take her time to get to know him better, as Naruto helped her a bit though, even if he was playing the dog at the same time. So Hana-san, what do I owe the pleasure of this meeting? Oh, and how are the pups that we retrieved a while back, he said, as he got up but continued to rub the dog's head and curse his ear, as Hana told him that the pups are doing fine. No, Hunter-san, is there a place we can talk in private for a while? It's important to me, she said, as she nearly made a mistake. As Naruto wondered if he was to blame for this, when he spoke of Akamaru, or Tsunade was the one that told her. I think both of you are to blame. You earned our suspicion the Hokage must have informed it, said the Kyuubi. Sure, Hana-san. I can remove the mask inside my room, said Naruto. The Kyuubi started to laugh. Oh sure, invite her in. Just to remove your mask. Hey. I'm ignoring you, said Naruto, as Naruto entered the hotel room with her. The room was quite cozy, and the window allowed rays of sunshine to enter. Before Hana could say anything, Naruto got something and fixed her dog some water. Hana-san, I don't mean to sound like a pervert here, but in order for me to remove my mask, the drapes had to be closed. As she turned to the drapes and closed them, as she turned around back. As Naruto reached up, time seemed to slow down as he started to remove the mask slowly. As she had feelings for him, she fell for his personality, because she never got to see his looks how he looked now. As she heard that Naruto had a similar look to the fort, as she prayed that he would look as handsome as him. As he then fully removed the mask, everything froze for her. Falling for someone based on their personality was tough, but falling for them was the looks as well, as he was handsome, with those whisker marks, making him look feral, something that she liked. Naruto felt a bit awkward. He knew why she was looking at him like that, but he never felt it, well, like someone praising his looks, saying that he was handsome, so it felt strange. He even heard chuckling in his head. She's getting quite excited, I can tell. She then finally snapped out of it. I'm so sorry, Naruto. I didn't mean to. Oh, it's okay, said Naruto. So, what do you wish to talk to me about? She blushed some more, as Hana was never really shy, so it didn't take her long to tell him that she wanted to get to know him better. Naruto was confused. Hana was beautiful and attractive. She would like to get to know him of all people. Mostly grown up, all he heard was people saying bad things about him. So well, that was a bit awkward for him to just... What should he really tell her? But she came all the way from Konoha to talk to him. Well, there isn't much to know about me, he said. I entered the academy at age 6. Graduated at 12 with Kiba. But Hana stopped him. Naruto, I happen to know about your accomplishment from Kiba and Kurenai-chan. It's just, okay. I guess some explanation are in order. For some time now, I've been thinking about you. How much affection you show towards one of my dogs. And it's safe to say I haven't met a guy who my dogs did not bark after or growl. In sense, they sent you to be someone pure. And we put a lot of faith in them. They act as our guide in life. We trust those that are trusted by our dogs. I see. It must be an honor to be trusted by them, said Naruto. Also a bit strange, since people don't really warm up to me. For a reason I'd rather not divulge right now. I know, she said. I only wish that people would see past that. I know about your prisoner, she told him. The fact that dogs don't sense any killing intent or evilness coming from you shows that you have a pure soul. It doesn't matter what. I wonder though, how were you to grow up like this? After going through so much. How I managed to grow up, Naruto said. He should have known that she probably knew about the fox, as she was older than them after all. Well, I guess I haven't given much out about it, but I guess I can't answer that for you. Ever since I was little, the only thing I received from the villagers was mostly hate and glares. At the time, I didn't have any idea why they did that, and I tried to figure it out. But I was young back then and I couldn't figure it out, so I just kept on and ignored all the hateful glares. As Hana sat there, as Naruto told his entire life to her, as he talked about Sir Toby. get into an apartment, going on a team with Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi-sensei being their leader. Hana knew that he was holding back some part of his life, some that was rather tough. As it was her turn to ask questions now. "You'll be mad at me if I say your life must have been tough, wouldn't you?" she asked. "As I grew up," said Naruto with a nod. "My view upon hardship in life became subjective. I know that own people have their own nightmare to think about, so it wouldn't do good for me to show everyone how it was to, well, me growing up. Take Renaissance for instance. She lost her baby, and her child would be born without a father to grow him." As Hana agreed with him, but Naruto had this thing about him. Despite everything that had been thrown into his lap, he worked hard and he pushed himself no matter what. "You're a good man, Naruto," she said. But he shook his head. "You can't say that for someone whose profit is earned in killing people." As she cut him off, "While it's true that hunter names are there to hunt and kill, that doesn't show the person's personality. And not to mention, if you were evil, my dogs would be rather cautious around you. And there would be no way in hell that he would allow you to touch him like that." One of the dogs then barked at Naruto. Well, it was not the way that any of them think, as Naruto had stopped caressing the dog's ears. As Naruto chuckled and started to do it again, as the dog stuck out his tongue because he liked it. As the two started to talk for a while about Hana's life, and how it was like to have Kiba as a brother. As Hana burst out laughing when he talked about his win against Kiba in the Chunin exams. As they were talking, they didn't even realize that the sun was now replaced by the moon. As they ordered in food. As Hana asked him about the bingo book, and how far he has been going. A couple hours passed with both of them doing nothing but talking, and Hana, well, it was time to get some sleep, and Naruto offered her his bed. At first she objected, as she didn't want to be a bother. She would sleep next to her dogs instead. But after the persuasion from Naruto, she accepted the bed. Right now she was inside the bathroom, getting ready to sleep, but her mind was racing on her conversation with Naruto. Getting to know him better, her feelings just grew. But she wanted to see his resolve in all of this, as she knew her meeting with him was great. But if she returned to Konoha right now, it wouldn't take long for her to feel like she wanted to talk to him once more. If his resolve was as big as hers, she wanted to settle for something a bit deeper between the two of them, so that when he came back home he would return to her. So now it was time for a bit of teasing. In the living room, Naruto was petting the dogs, as he was thinking of Hana getting dressed in the bathroom. Hana was surely gorgeous and attractive, but what interested Naruto the most was the way that she spoke to him. As it's been a while since he had a rather long conversation like this, well, except for the Kyuubi. But this was nice, as Naruto knew that she was interested in him, and as the conversation flowed, he started to feel something as well. But it wouldn't just be a one-night thing. After all, she wouldn't just cross Fire Country just for that. And the way they exploded their conversation, something had just clicked between them. It was even worse when she left the bathroom with nothing but an oversized white shirt and went straight to the bed. In seconds, she was already lying down and curling around herself, making strange noises as she tested out how comfortable the bed was. "Are you comfortable, Hana-san?" Naruto asked. "Operation Teasing begun. Let's see how much you hold up before you join me." "Very comfortable. This bed's amazing. It's the first time you've been here, right?" Naruto nodded. "It's a shame that you don't get to feel it." A smile came on Naruto's face as she moved around the bed even more. "Is she teasing me?" said Naruto, as the Kyuubi started chuckling darkly in Naruto's head. "Well, it really would be a shame if I didn't get to feel it." "Perhaps the bed is big enough for both of us," said Naruto, as the Kyuubi then released pheromones from Naruto's body, making it worse. While this was her idea, she was hit with this force. She thought that she could tease him like that and get away with it, as she tried her best to keep herself calm. "You're free to come and feel it if you wish." As Naruto stepped straight towards the bed, it didn't take too long, as he started to caress the bed as well, until his hand placed on her feet and it started to go up, caressing her feet as well. "Oh, that's not the bed," she said. "Is it?" "Well, I'm not looking at the moment, so I'm just feeling my way," he said, until his hand went straight up to Hana's cheek and started to caress her cheek. She wanted him so bad, she had dreamed about this a lot of time. As Naruto ended up leaning himself over, as his hand moved, so he fell over, plopping down in the bed, as he was laying right over her feet. "It really is comfortable," he said, as he then picked himself up, before falling once again right on top of her, as their face was inches away from each other. "Oh, it really is," he said, as he was touching the side of the bed, not even looking at her, as her face got intensely red. As She couldn't handle it anymore. And when his face tilted a bit closer, she leaned in as well, allowing their lips to touch. And he turned out in a full makeout session. As her hands started to move around, as she started to remove the clothing that he was wearing, but he stopped. "You don't want this, Naruto," she said. "Only a fool wouldn't want this," Hana-chan, he whispered in her ear. As a suffix made her body stiffen even more. Things got rather hot and heavy from there, as he didn't do much to her and her body was already shaking. An Inuzaka feral thing, which Naruto came to rather enjoy. Lucky that the dogs were in the other room, and the door was locked, as Hana had a rather feral side about her, and that draw out something wild inside Naruto, as Inuzaka women love to be dominated. So when Naruto's eyes became a bit slanted, and his whiskers got thick, and his canines became long, she enjoyed the feral look, as her fingernails had dig into his back, but it just seemed to entice everything even more. Even the fox was surprised as Naruto was tapping into his feral instinct as well, as things became rather hot. The next day, after leaving the hotel room, after everything was done and said, as Naruto told Hana about his mission, she had to go back to Konoha since the fake mission that Tsunade gave her to this part of the, country had ended today. But when it came for them to separate, they didn't want to, as Naruto was supposed to arrive tomorrow at the stand, and Hana was supposed to return tonight. "Naruto-kun, I know that I don't want to leave you," she said. "Last night was just so amazing, but we both have obligations from the village." "Yes, yesterday was truly fantastic, Hana-chan. I wish I didn't have to leave just yet, but the Kazekage is expecting me." As Naruto reached into his pack, as he pulled that seal and gave it to her. "What's this?" she asked. "This is the seal devised by Jiraiya to communicate with me, wherever I'm located. By pouring some chakra into that seal, someone from the Toad clan will come by, for you to send a message to me, and I can send the same." As Hana hugged him, "I never thought that this would be so perfect," she said. "Train hard. I'll be there waiting when you come back home." "Sure thing," said Naruto. "Travel with care," he said. "I'll be sure to write to you." As Hana then went through Hansign. "What are you doing?" said Naruto. As she finished, "I just placed up a small genjutsu. We won't be seen. I just want to..." As she reached up and slowly lift his mask, "Kiss you one more time." Seeing that he was safe, Naruto wrapped his arms around her and started to kiss her, as he then placed back down his mask. As they said a final goodbye, as Hana waved off to him, and with that she headed off with her pups. A smile was under Naruto's mask the entire time, as he watched her leave, before he turned back to head towards the sand. Time skip. Later that night, Kazekage-sama, the hunter from Konoha, has arrived. As Gaara nodded, told him to send him in, and told Temar to come to his office. As a Chunin compliant led Naruto into the office, leaving the door closed. "Kazekage-sama, I'm here on the behalf of the Hokage-sama. How can I assist you?" As Naruto kneeled on the ground. As Gaara wondered if Naruto was making fun of him or not by going through these unnecessary formalities. "I have to say it's weird enough to hear you call anyone Sama, but go as far to be respectful. It doesn't suit you at all, Naruto." As Naruto got up and started to chuckle. "I just want to see your face, that's all. It was great to see the great Kazekage showing signs of confusion. So what can I do for you, Gaara?" As Gaara told him that once Temari arrived, he would tell him. As Gaara asked about the wind technique, he was quite surprised to know that Naruto has reached his far already. As they talk, 5 minutes later, Temari arrived. "Temari, the hunter from Konoha has arrived. Please do explain our situation for us." "Okay, so the name of our guy is Mishimoto Kamasuke, and he's declared an A-rank missing. So far, the man managed to cripple all of our hunters and no one knows to defeat this guy." As Naruto turned towards Gaara to ask about the man's abilities, Kamazuki is a mashup using the wind element with one to sand, top, battle fan. Just a swing of it, he was able to send 5 or 100 names flying. Not to mention he was able to create hurricanes and slice deep in the flesh. Since this mission is official, sand business, Temari here will be helping you, escorting you to find the man. But I'm sure he won't make enough effort to run. He's quite ready to prove himself. One last thing, this man needs to be taken alive, so do not kill him. As Naruto nodded, as he was going to stay in a hotel in town until tomorrow when they left. As Temari turned to her brother while he was gone, as she wondered why Gaara seemed so, casual with this guy. He did say hunter, nin and all those things, but the way Gaara spoke was different from the way he spoke to other people that he was, not sure about or he didn't know. "Are you sure this hunter nin can handle it?" she said. Gaara simply told her that this hunter nin was special. She can try to uncover that riddle for herself. Temari shrugged it off. as Gaara returned back to his documents as she left. Time skip, as Naruto was currently inside the hotel, as they explained to the San visitors about the, water shortage. And Naruto wasn't disrespectful, so he took a 5-minute shower. As Gamikichin arrived, Naruto, seriously, I knew I agreed to do this, but why did you give a seal to that girl? You know I don't want to be a postman for the entire day, right? As Naruto explained to Yamakichi, fine, he said, but you're gonna have to do something for me in return. Alright, hear me out. Each letter you exchange, I'll buy you 2 chocolate bars, said Naruto. As Yamakichi started to think about it. As Naruto wondered if he was thinking, what the hell does he want? Alright, I agree. Since this is the first one, it's gonna be a freebie. But the next letter, any one of you sent, I expect 2 chocolate bars in return. As he gave Naruto the note, well, go on, read it. I'll be waiting for your reply, he said. As Naruto opened the note, hello there, Naruto-kun. I just want to tell you that I placed a seal accordingly. And know that we set up our communication link. Well, I wanted you to know how nice it was to be with you. Plus, teasing my brother, telling that I was in 100 in. I enjoy seeing that look on his face. Also, I told my mother about her day. Well, not all of it, and she was happy for me. And she's very supportive of everything. How about you, where you are now? I'll wait for your reply, Hana. As Naruto laughed at the image of Kiba, acting like a protective younger brother. As Naruto wrote back to Hana. As he also drew a small picture of an angry Kiba. As he finished the message, telling Hana to supply Kamikichi with 2 chocolate bars. Explained that he was greedy and wouldn't do it for less. After that, Naruto went to bed. As he went into his mindscape, as a fox tried to make Naruto remember when he battled Haku, those pressure points in your body. After all, since Naruto began this job, he killed people, so he would have to bring this one back alive. As a fox, pounded the information in Naruto's head about the pressure points of the body. The next day when Naruto woke up, he had a slight headache. Learning pressure points are not all that hard, but when the Kyuubi decided to go into depth about teaching him the needle and all that. Quickly getting dressed, Naruto left the hotel room, and he was face to face with Temari, as she was holding a basket with different bread types. I was hoping that you wouldn't be late, Hunter-san. I didn't want to hold this for hours. I wonder if Gaara put her up to this, or is this some weird way of the San exploring their hospitality to Konoha? As he accepted it, he turned his mask sideways so she couldn't see his face, as he started to eat. Probably she did this to get you in the sack later. The fox laughed in his head. As Naruto sighed, he thought this would stop, well, given the recent developments with Hana. But I guess not. Temari-san, I have to admit I feel a bit humble for having the sister of the Kazekage serve me some breakfast. I have to admit I wonder, what is the Kazekage intentions? Beats me, Gaara just asked to make sure you had a nice time in the sun. I don't know what he's planning in this, but since he's a Kazekage, I don't have a say in the matter. Well, since you have your breakfast, Hunter-san, we should be getting out there. We're at the Tempest meeting of the month. Means that we'll have to go through a lot of hurricanes before reaching the end of the desert. Where is he located, said Naruto. I thought he was residing in the wind country. As he realized, he didn't have to cross the desert. As she told him that a recent recon mission told him that he is currently residing near River Country. If we travel fast, it will take a day and a half to get across the desert and 1 more to reach his location. I don't think he will move from that position since he spotted our recon team, and he won't want them to give up the chase. It will be up to you to face him and put him unconscious. Think you can live up to the task he asked? I won't intend to give you an answer before I face the man in combat, said Naruto. Nevertheless, if San best couldn't fight him, then I would be hard pressed not to believe in his own abilities as one of the best in the elemental nations. In the end, the battle will be decided on who got the stronger win between us. As Temari nodded as she agreed with his words, she was a bit impressed as well, as she knew Hunter names very well after all she dated one in the past, and many of them became rather arrogant. If they tilt down a few C rank here and there, they became rather arrogant, saying that they are the best and no one can beat them. After all, they're out there doing the dangerous jobs, killing off missing ends. But this Hunter gave her a realistic answer, and also told that he possessed a win of Inte. So with that, they headed off, leaving the village. Meanwhile, in Konoha, a place where no man would want to be, no man or woman. Konoha, interrogation department led by Ibiki. There was a reason for this. Ibiki methods. They were rivaled by no one, brutal and efficient. Countless people came here and they always spilled their guts. But one man was different, Takara Shinobu, as he was brought in for a questioning for being a rat for the Akatsuki, as Kakashi and Sai followed him for a while, as they found that he was sending information to a man named Pain, the Akatsuki leader. The problem, however, was linking this man to his actual leader in the village, Danzo. In front of a one-way mirror, Kakashi, Tsunade and Ibiki were there, looking at the man. I've encountered top subject to crack, Tsunade-sama, but none of them is similar to this one. It is like Danzo completely ripped away everything from him, turning him into a mindless individual. Both Tsunade and Kakashi nodded. When Sai came in their life the first time, he was also emotionless. The only thing he focused on was the mission and nothing else. It ain't Naruto that changed him, Naruto's behavior, for him to become friends with the both of them. But if this man truly has no emotions, Ibiki wouldn't be the best candidate for this. His method was always messing with the people's mind, pretty much destroying it with, well, emotional things first. Get what Konoha needs. Ibiki, who would you consider for replacing you with this guy? If your reports are true then, we will need a different approach, said Tsunade. Well, on the spot, I will consider Yamanaka Inoue. He can get inside the man's mind without torture or interrogation. But it might be dangerous for him to dive into this man's mind, given that the person that, well, trained him was Danzo. I think we're more in need of a physical approach. That will be another interrogator in my department. While one without emotion, he is not immune to pain. The one I'm thinking about uses pain as a method to extract the information that she needs. Kakashi knew exactly who he was talking about, as Tsunade did not know who he was talking about, as Ibiki went off to get his companion. A moment later, Tsunade-sama, here she is. As Tsunade turned, Uncle? But guys, be any subs right here. If you want the next part of this or know what to do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share all of your friends in social media platform. And also go ahead and check out the brand new series, What If Naruto Awakened the Yellow Rinnegan after his exile, guys, over on Anime King 3. Link will be at the top of the description, so go ahead and enjoy that. And also stay in tune for What If Naruto Was Betrayed by Hagoromo, guys. And yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.